Welcome back. The popular film American Sniper has smashed several box office records and was nominated for 6 Oscars. The film tells the story of Chris Kyle, the deadliest sniper in American military history. While many Americans have hailed the film as a tribute to a patriotic hero, critics charge that the film celebrates mass killings and fuels racism and violence against Arabs and Muslims. Should the widespread popularity of American Sniper be alarming to Arabs and Muslims? Joining me to share his thoughts is Dr. Shabir Ali. Welcome to the show, Dr. Shabir.
Pleasure to be on.
So tell us a little bit about the book, because as I understand, you read the book and not the movie. And I guess you didn't watch the movie, right?
Yeah, just to be clear, the film is based on the autobiography of Chris Kyle, his book entitled American Sniper. And it is, as you described, a biography of the most successful sniper in American history. He himself claims to have killed many, some 245, but the documented kills or confirmed kills are 160, a large number. And he tells us about his background, how he got married, his family life, and also his military activity.
So based on what I know about the movie, I know that it focused a little bit, Kyle shows his personal struggle as a result of what he experiences, because of being in war. And it's, I guess, almost disturbing to me, because it says that he's motivated by his failure to kill more women and children in order to save lives of American soldiers. So in your opinion, what is the philosophy of killing that is portrayed, and is it specifically targeted at Arabs and Muslims? Because that's a conversation that we're seeing.
In the book, Chris Kyle depicts himself as somebody who actually likes to be in war situations and to be killing the enemy. In fact, killing started for him on the ranch when he was shooting raccoons at a very early age. But aside from this, with his military training, he was always itching to go out there and shoot someone. And this is how he describes it. It's not simply that he wants to go there and defend his country, that too, but it's also that he has this instinct that he wants to bring into reality. And this is depicted also in some non-combative situations. For example, once when he was at home and he felt that there was a burglar in the house, he quickly grabbed his gun, deciding to go after the burglar. And in the meantime, he was thinking, no burglar is going to get into my house and live to tell about it. So, that's how he sees himself. He, on occasion, describes his time at home away from war, and he refers to maybe some things that are common to many vets who come back from the war, and they still feel this kind of heightened aggressive feeling within themselves. So he would have road rage. For example, if somebody cuts him off, he would try to run that person off the road.
This is after he came back from the war, or this is just
in between? He would come back and then return. During the war itself, as he would look at possible targets within the crosshairs, within his lens, he would actually often be waiting for permission to shoot. And if he doesn't get permission to shoot from his authorities, he would describe them by, he uses a lot of foul language in the book throughout, and he would describe them in mean terms, referring to a female personal part. Using the slang and vulgar, obscene type of description. So he always wanted to be ready to shoot. And the interesting thing about his targets, in his view, is that he always describes them as savages, as scum. And he says in one place in his book, the interesting point that it is often said that if you want to kill another human, you have to dehumanize them first. And he said that these Iraqis were making it easy to do that, easy to dehumanize them, and therefore easy to kill them. And whereas many soldiers in war would regret having to kill people, they would say, okay, it just simply so happens that we were there, we had to kill in order to survive. It's either we killed them or they killed us. And this can especially be seen when somebody is lunging at you or pointing a gun at you or getting ready to kill you, and you know it's either they kill you or you kill them, and then you kill in self-defense. You still regret it that you had to kill another human being, but at least it's excusable on the principle that you acted in self-defense. Here, when somebody is a sniper, he is in hiding, he's in proper camouflage, he's not seen, and that's the whole business behind sniping. You pick a hideout where you cannot be seen, you fire off a shot, and as he describes it, because it is at long range, the bullet reaches before the sound, so people get shot before they even know what has hit them, and they die from that shot. So he's far away, protected. He personally is not facing any danger. He's only working with intel. Somebody tells him, this is the bad guy, take him out. And he does. But he himself describes in his book the fact that military intelligence is an oxymoron. Meaning that you cannot be sure about the intelligence that's being fed to you in a military situation. So at the end of it, we expect that he should have some remorse. But he says at the end of his book that he has no remorse. The 160 he has killed, each one of them deserved to die. They were all
including women and children,
evil.
right?
Well, in one case he shot a woman, and he's saying that that's the only woman he has ever shot. But he has no regrets about any of these situations. He sees them all as evil, and he says himself that he sees everything as black and white.
So how does this tie in contrast to what the Quran says about war and killing? Because the fact, like just explaining what you're saying, I knew about, that this was the idea that was promoted, that him having no remorse, but even just hearing about, what you're talking about, even his desire to kill the burglar, like, how do we understand, killings in war from an Islamic context?
Well, in the Quran it's very clear that war is not a desirable thing. The Quran says every time the enemy tries to start the fire of war, God puts it out. And the Quran says, "As-sulhu khair," reconciliation is better. So the purpose of war is not to kill the other side, as Chris Kyle puts it. He says that the purpose of war is to make the other people die. And again, he uses foul language to refer to them. But from the Quranic perspective, the purpose of war is to bring back peace. Sometimes the aggressor needs to be dealt with in order to alleviate and remove his aggression, and to bring back a peaceful situation with justice for everybody. And it's not to kill the soldiers of the other side, it's to capture them if you can, and then eventually after, as the Quran says, when the war lays down its burdens, then you can release these captives either for free or as for a ransom in exchange, sometimes for your prisoners that are held by your people who are held prisoners by them. Killing is never the objective. That's just sometimes a last resort that is unavoidable. And yeah, to kill another human being is regrettable, even in war. The Quran in the 5th chapter in the 32nd verse says that if you kill another human being, that's like you're killing a whole people, because if you think of all the potential progeny from this person, at the same time, if you save another human being, that is like saving a whole people, again, with the potential of this human being to have progeny. So as much as a life can be saved and killing can be avoided, this is the Quranic objective. And I believe that this is also a Christian objective, although Chris Kyle describes himself as a strong Christian, and he had a cross tattooed in red color onto his forearm, red, he said, to signify blood. And it's a Crusader cross. So even though the president at the time, George W. Bush, had said that he mistakenly used the word crusade to describe their endeavors in retaliating for the bombing of the World Trade Center towers. Nevertheless, this author, Chris Kyle, takes the Crusader idea very seriously, and apparently some of his comrades as well, because one of his platoon members who had lost an eye had it replaced with a prosthetic eye, but he also had engraved or imprinted in that prosthetic eye the symbol of the Crusader cross as well. And it seems that Chris Kyle's wife has also taken this seriously, because she gave him a new wedding ring, eventually made of steel, and engraved on that wedding ring is the same Crusader cross.
Wow. I guess I'm a little speechless just because of, all of the content that you're describing, but I'm just wondering, the movie has been nominated for 6 Oscars, and, it's obvious the mere fact that he's describing anybody as savages is there are no words for that. So, and there has been a lot of, people responding on social media with a lot of vulgar language that I can't even begin to describe at this moment. But I guess what larger implications do you see this having on the average Muslim community?
Well, I see that this book actually is catering for that kind of readership, the people who will use that kind of vulgar language. In fact, reading the book, one of the painful things for me to read the book was to go through all of that vulgarity. And it obviously caters to an audience and a readership that would love to read that. But his vulgarity also includes material that is demeaning to women, material that is racist. And it is interesting to think about why some publishing houses would be publishing a book like this, and why a director like Clint Eastwood, otherwise successful, and known in the early days to be the good cowboy who was shooting up the bad people, the outlaws and so on, why he would want to promote something like this by making a movie out of this guy's life. Isn't it enough that within the military situation he's decorated with his medals and given his recognition for his marksmanship within the battle situation? Do we need to promote him as a personality? Because he may have been a very good marksman, but the personality that he portrays, I don't believe should be properly representative of any people, and much less the American people. And Muslims should be concerned about this, because it will provoke the kind of sentiments that he has in other people. Other people will be looking at it and say, yeah, this is our hero, this is how he thinks about the Muslims, and they might start thinking, yeah, we ought to think like that as well.
So one of the ways that people are speaking out is, in response to the drastic hate that's increasing in social media, is using Twitter and Facebook to respond back. So much so that the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee actually wrote letters to actor Bradley Cooper and Clint Eastwood to ask them to speak out in an effort to help reduce the hateful rhetoric. So is that what we should also continue to do, Muslims and non-Muslims alike? Especially if this, the mere fact that it's been nominated for 6 Oscars says a lot.